Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the planets of the beats, the Beat Talk Radio. You don't want to miss the best debate show via internet? Debate Talk Radio. Check out the schedule for Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time or at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. To check out the archives, go to www.blogtalkradio.com/debate talk 4 and the letter U. You can listen via phone or via Skype by dialing that number 646-716-7320. Again, that's 646-716-7320. You can also go to iTunes to the podcast section. Just type in the search box Debate Talk 4 and the letter U, and you'll see the show pop up absolutely free. You check out season 1 all the way up to the present season and enjoy the entire show. So keep it locked on Debate Talk Radio. Check us out.
Greatness attracts greatness. Talk with the Titans host here, Callum L. And you're now locked into Debate Talk for You Radio.
Islam. This is the Grand Sheik Way L, a.k.a. Lord Abba, a.k.a. Mr. Just the Facts. Giving a shout out to Sal Showtime and Debate Talk for You Radio. Keep doing what you're doing more. This is an excellent, excellent forum. And remember one thing. Islam built that. Peace, peace.
All praises, all honor, all glory to the supreme intellect of the universe. This is Nasi Yashuvel of Shomrei HaTorah in Atlanta. And if I'm not reading my Torah or suplexing some false deity, I'm listening to my man, Sal Showtime, and Debate Talk for You Radio. Beautiful. Keep doing the good work, brother, bringing forth the information and spreading that love.
Hi. This is Tyrone Thompson, host of the Blog Talk Radio broadcast, Talk Real Solutions. Please tune in and listen to all of our shows 7 nights a week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At Talk Real Solutions, we cover a variety of topics to ensure we speak about what may be needed in our community at any time. Talk Real Solutions is the hottest Blog Talk Radio show going on right now. You can listen to our broadcast at www.blogtalkradio.com/talkrealsolutions or visit our website at www.talkrealsolutions.com. Also like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/talkrealsolutions. You can call in at any time during the show and add to the conversation and offer your solutions at 1-858-357-8453. That's 1-858-357-8453. Because at Talk Real Solutions, we want to make sure you have a chance to talk real solutions.
Shalom Alaikum, Israel. This your brother Zadok Ben Israel, assistant teacher at the Congregation of Israel, the Knesset of Jesus, located in Buffalo, New York. We believe in the full, uncut word of God from Genesis to Revelation, and we seek to share the truth that the Holy Spirit has witnessed to us. So if you are interested in finding out more about our ministry, please visit us at www.congregationisrael.net. You can also find our teachings on YouTube under my namesake, youtube.com/Zadok Ben Israel. We also have a page, Knesset Yeshua, KNESSETYSHUA. You can also find us on Blog Talk Radio every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the Growing Stone Bible Study Show. Go to blogtalkradio.com/Nazarene. And if you feel you just want to reach out and talk to us personally, call us 866-78-BIBLE. Shalom, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Shalom Debate Talk for You family. This spring, when you're planning your family gatherings, be sure to purchase Tupperware, kitchen storageware, and appliances for those special occasions of building memories with your loved ones, keeping your favorite foods fresh for the spring. And don't miss out on the chance to win a 32-gigabyte Kindle Fire HD with any eligible purchase made up until April 21st. Be sure to take advantage of this offer and great deals at www.shopfortupperware.com. That's SHOPFORTUPPERWARE. Make healthy meals and beautiful memories. Shalom.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk for You Radio.
This is Renald Francoeur representing from Atlanta, Georgia. And when I'm not busy in the studio, I'm checking out Debate Talk for You Radio. Keep up the great work, Sal Showtime.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 6 of Debate Talk for You Radio. Of course, I'm your host, Sal Showtime, and it is Monday. You know what that means. It is the Relationship Challenge segment of Debate Talk for You Radio. We do this each and every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and so far we're up to Volume 13 right about now, Volume 13 of the Relationship Challenge, and we appreciate all the support out there, the people that's been making their comments and, tuning in live, checking out the Relationship Challenge. Feel free to call in. You know that number, 646-716-7320. Today's topic is entitled Homosexuality, a Hebrew's Perspective. Once again, homosexuality, a Hebrew's perspective. All right, so we're going to go to the panel right about now. But first, of course, I got to introduce the first lady of Debate Talk for You. She is here. Oh, you got to press number 1. You got to press number 1 if you're out there. Okay, there we go. Here's Amuna. Here's Brielle. Welcome to the show.
Greetings and welcome, everyone. Greetings, Brother Sal. This is Amuna. All praise be to the Most High, the Holy One. It's glad to be back here once again on another Monday night, about to go into this conversation about homosexuality from a Hebrew perspective. So once again, welcome everyone.
All right, well, appreciate you being here. And you gotta let people know about this new book that you got out there. You gotta let them know about it each and every week. Tell them about the new book that you got out there.
Oh, brother, how did you get your book?
Oh, not yet. I didn't get it yet.
On its way. All right. So, yeah, the new book that's out is called My Brother, My Keeper. And it's a children's book. It's a chapter book for children around, depending on the reading level, but you can also read it with them. Not middle school, but elementary school, 3rd, 4th grade, in and around that area. And like I said, it's definitely something that you can sit down and read with them. It's coming from a cultural perspective. It has lessons, morals, and all that stuff in there. It's an excellent, I wrote it with my daughter, and so definitely check it out. You can go to www.mybookbag.org, so that you can get a sneak peek of the first chapter, and then from there you'll be able to order the book on Amazon and create space in different locations such as that. And so definitely that's what's going on. And as always, we have the Lev Project going on via live stream from my YouTube channel, where we're going almost 6 months strong now from reading the narratives of our forefathers and foremothers who came through the transatlantic slave trade. And so we're reading first-hand accounts, and it's definitely opening up a lot of people's mind and consciousness. So if you have an opportunity, you can go over there and check out some of the stuff that we've done in the past.
All right, people, so once again, go show your support. What I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to leave it in the description box on the YouTube page to the YouTube family out there. Let's go and check it out in the description box. And, of course, the Blog Talk family, I'm going to put it up later on in the description box as well. Show your support and, read stories. I start reading stories again with your kids. So let's go back to reading stories. Yeah, there you go.
With children. That's something that's being lost. I'm sorry, Brother Sal. Sometimes we throw iPads in their hand, computers, this and that. But to sit down and engage your child and read with them and explain with them and help them to gain understanding about what they're hearing and reading is very important in this day and time. So let's not overlook that very simple bonding time that one could begin to develop with their own children.
That's right. Some people call it old school to do that, but nah, man, that's the most edifying thing to do right there is to read with your kids and promote reading. So make sure you go and check that website out and make sure you show your support. All right, so let's go to the home panel. Let's go to my brother, Award Swordsman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, shalom. What's up, brother and my sister? How y'all doing today? All praises to the Most High.
Brother Award.
All right.
Yeah, Brother War, last week was a very great show. After you left, man, got a little heated, but yeah, man, it was a classic, man. But how you doing though so far?
I'm good, man. In the vineyard, My show is every time I try to get to it, I got something come up, but I'm gonna get to it. You know how it is. I'm a busy dude, but it's coming around. Just yeah.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Well, I appreciate you being here, though, and I appreciate your input. So let's go to my sister from the BK, you know what I'm saying, BK all day, I always got to put that little BK slang when I introduce her. But this is Mayana. Welcome to the show.
Oh, shalom, everybody. Thank you for having me again. All praises to the Holy One of Israel. In terms of what I have been doing, as usual, I've been in the trenches, talking to the people, dealing with the people, doing my best to address the issues and concerns of our people. In terms of what I have invested in the future, there are a few projects that I am doing in collaboration with our sister Amuna, and you can look forward to that, as well as the videos and the website that I have been promising you will be available and going live by the end of the summer.
All right, that's Sister Mayana right there, right here on Debate Talk Radio. And for those that are new to the show, you can call in with your questions, your comments. If you're listening on social media, if you're listening on Blog Talk, all you have to do is dial that number and then press number 1 and we'll add you in. The only rule that I have is that there's no foul language. You got to keep it clean, keep it professional, no foul language. And, of course, for the panel, home panel, we're going to stick with the home team tonight right here on Debate Talk Radio. But anybody else that want to join in, press number 1 and we'll add you in the conversation. Of course, to avoid any background feedback, just press mute on your phones, and then we'll start off, of course, with Abuna opening up. So, Amona, you can take it away.
Well, this is a very interesting topic, and we thought about different ways of which to approach it. And like you said, tonight we're going to be open to the listening audiences as well to have the conversation. It's something that's very real and present in today's space and time, because of all the things that are going on as it relates to the laws that are changing here in America, at least where it is that homosexuality is definitely from the 70s, 80s, and 90s now has grown in its exposure or in its ability to influence lawmaking. And so we see where people are getting married legally. We see where even recently transgenderism is at the forefront once again, and where people now are being forced to accept. It's kind of like a pushing to accept and pushing on your children to accept this type of lifestyle as something that is normal. And as Hebrews who go out into the world and send your children, if you still send your children to school and still operate in these spaces, it's a very real and present conversation. We're definitely going to go into what the Torah says concerning it. These are some of the customs of the nation. These are some of the prohibitions that was left on record concerning why not to follow the nations. And once again, history is repeating itself and is coming back. So I look forward to the conversation. We're going to look at it from the perspective of people having questions as to, it says that a man should not lay with a man, but it doesn't say that a woman shouldn't lay with a woman. And so you have this space where people would like to try to elude that is not a sin or that is not a transgression of the law because it does not expressly state that. So hopefully today we will begin to go into all of these ambiguous areas. And I just want to say, especially because a lot of people are coming out of different lifestyles and they're coming into this way with certain thought processes and looking for justifications and validations for their actions and behaviors. And so hopefully we'll be able to shine some light on that tonight, and we'll go and take it from there. So with that said, I will open it up, and I'll give it to Sister Mayana, and then we come to Brother Awar. And like we said, listening audience, you get to come in early today, and so definitely not only have your pens and papers ready, but go ahead and press 1 so we can hear your voice. So at this point, Sister Mayana, the mic is yours.
So that's what I said. What we're looking at now is that, like you said, there are people coming into the culture, trying to adopt the culture, but not totally turning away from all of their previous frames of references. And we find that this is the case as we interact with the people and listen to their concerns. Many of our people want to consider themselves to be good people and find it problematic when they have to place a harsh eye on certain activities that they were taught they should allow for or be patient with in the world. So when they come into this to the culture and they want to believe themselves to be a good person, they believe that to be harsh on others is a negative attribute that doesn't reconcile well with being a righteous person. But however, we find that righteousness, has to do with being morally in line with what the Most High has set, the model that He has provided. And if it comes, to it that we have to say we are going to side with the Most High over the very permissive environment of the world, and that's just what we have to do. Because like you said before, and even talking about reading with our children, the element of bonding with our children follows. It's not precedes the protective nature of our children and our responsibility to set boundaries and to make examples. And so if we say to our children that being permissive of behaviors that go against what is being taught in the home, what is being described by our power, by what the Creator has set as a blueprint for how He wants His creation to behave and to interact. And instead, what we have been saying is, but people feel this way, and people would like to do these things, and it is not right to infringe upon or make uncomfortable those people. And then the question becomes, well, who are we seeking approval from, the Creator or the created? And with that, I yield the floor for now.
All right. Thank you for that. That's Sister Mayana opening up the conversation on homosexuality from a Hebrew perspective. And at this point, we're going to go to Brother Awar.
Yeah. You know me, when I deal with a situation, I like to crack it open and go to the origin. Okay, what is homosexuality? Where does it come from? What is it? Okay, it's an evil spirit. Okay, one of the evil spirits of evil. But let's trace it. Okay, I'm gonna go to Second Ezra. This is Second Ezra in the King James Apocrypha 4 verse 30. We're gonna trace it all the way back from Adam. We're gonna bring it up to today. Okay, this is Second Ezra 4 verse 30. For the grain of evil seed have been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. Okay, so Adam had negative and positive. So we're talking about this was planted in him, but he chose the negative path. Okay, then it says, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of judgment. So this evil spirit came through the loins of Adam when he made the wrong decision in the garden, and it's been circulating throughout the generations on the earth to this very hour. It has evolved to a higher level where it's all over the planet now. It started way back then in the garden. Once he transgressed, the evil spirit came in him, and we're going to trace it. It went here. After it came through Adam, it went to, let's go to Genesis 9th chapter, and we're going to go to the 22nd verse. It says, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. That's where it surfaced, with Ham. Once the flood with Ham, Shem, and Japheth, it came through Ham. Okay? It said that he looked upon his father's nakedness. Okay? Now, the other brothers knew what to do. They knew righteousness. They covered their father. And didn't look at their father's nakedness. But Ham looked at Noah's nakedness and went and told his brothers. So the evil spirit surfaced, and it came through Ham. Let's trace it some more. We're going to go to Genesis 19. Okay, I'm just tracing this evil spirit and show how we got involved with it. Okay, this is Genesis 19, starting at 1. It says, and there came two angels to Sodom and at even. So now it then surfaced into a group of people, which is Sodom and Gomorrah, which come out of the loins of Ham. Okay, that's where Sodom and Gomorrah. This is a place where homosexuality was multiplied. Okay, that's why they call doing that act, they call it sodomy. Come from Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, because there was multitudes of people doing this at that time. So the evil spirit came through the loins of Adam when he made the wrong decision, and it went through the generations. It surfaced with Ham, and it went to Sodom and Gomorrah, which more people indulged in this evil act. So let's read it. It says, Genesis 19, verse 1. There came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold, how my Lord turned in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night. And wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go in your ways. And they said, nay, for we will abide in the street all night. So the angels came to Sodom and Gomorrah because they was going to destroy it. Why? Because this evil spirit had entered a lot of people. It started multiplying. Okay? Then it says, I'm going to move down fast. I'm going to hold up. I'm going to 6th verse. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came in thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them. So when those sodomites, the homosexuals back then, they saw the angels, they tried to get with the angels. That's how evil it was. And then it says, and Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Right? Behold, now I have two daughters. He offered his two daughters to these guys, which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. They didn't want the women. So let me just read this last verse in that. It says, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So the Lord sent angels to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because that evil spirit had taken over all the people, most of the people at that time, and they were doing the same thing they're doing today. Okay, the same thing that went on in Sodom and Gomorrah is happening right now today in America. That's why you see the influx of homosexuality and lesbianism and all that stuff. It's growing. It's an evil spirit, and we're going to read. So I'm going to go to one more, and I'm going to pass the mic. This is 1 Kings 14, started at 22. Now, I'm going to show how it evolved and came to us, the Israelites, the children of Israel. This is 1 Kings 14, 22. And Judah did evil in the sight of the Lord. Judah is the tribe which they get the word Jew from, which, according to prophecy, just saying this to people that don't read the Bible, that would be the so-called Negroes today. It says, and Judah did evil in the sight of the Lord, and they provoked him to jealousy with their sins which they had committed, of all that their fathers had done. For they also built them high places and images and groves on every high hill. So you see this is another abomination as well, when they were worshiping idols. Then it says, and under every green tree. And there were also sodomites, homosexuals, okay, among them, right, in the land, and they did according to all the abominations of the nations which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. So that's where we learned that from, the Hebrews. from the nations, that act of man on man, woman on women. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic. I just wanted to put down the illustration on where this evil spirit started. That's it.
Woo! Sometimes we forget about that First Kings. That was a good one right there. Brother Award, today, for thank you those for just joining us right now. We're speaking about homosexuality. And Brother Award just beautifully took us through the process of how the spirit entered the earth, and when it is allowed to flourish, it actually is a spirit that overtakes people. And this is what we're kind of seeing now. Everybody is this way, is being pushed from all directions, whether it be music, whether it be the television that you're watching, whether it be the chemical and in the food that one is putting in there. It's all geared towards this perversion or being susceptible to this lifestyle. And again, it is leaking into the community. So thinking that it's not, and think, why are they having this conversation? Because the reality is, as we saw, as Brother Award just went to First Kings, that it was in the community or was in the nation. So it is again today, and I see it more heavily on the thought process concerning women, and thinking that this cannot be so because it doesn't specifically say women. And so I'm gonna go to Sister Mayana, who's often out there speaking to the people, boots on the ground, who may have very well heard this conversation before. Sister Mayana, what are your thoughts on this conversation? Have you been privy to such conversation, and what say ye concerning it? The mic is yours.
Regarding the idea that homosexuality is prohibited only between the men, is that what you're asking me, sir?
Okay, the thoughts that say that, the man, he has how many women, he has some wives, and there's nothing wrong with all of them together doing these sexual explicit acts, because it does not say that, the Torah does not say specifically women. It doesn't specifically address women, and therefore, it's not prohibited. These are some of the things that are being said, on the streets concerning even Hebrewism.
Okay, absolutely. In the trenches is absolutely something that we find, unfortunately, I have to admit that, yes, this is something that I have seen while in the trenches and with the people. These conversations are cropping up where men as well as women are postulating and putting forward the idea that because in Leviticus 18 and 20 we have prohibition, we have all the list of sexual prohibitions in the types of Leviticus 18 and 20, those two chapters, that there are a list of prohibitions about what types of sexual activity is forbidden among our people. And because of the specificity in those chapters that say a man cannot lay with another man as he does with womankind, and there is no complementary text that says women cannot lay with womankind as they would with a man, they take that as kind of an open invitation, or that it's open to interpretation. And like you said, where there are paradigms and marriage models where there are multiple women, the idea that these women can share more than just their husbands, but can explore each other sexually, because there is no Levitical prohibition for that kind of activity. And I've seen these conversations in forums. I've seen, I've even had, they're on the personal profiles of some of the men, and I've even had these questions asked, elders, is this permissible? Is it true that, we can participate in these kinds of behaviors? There's no prohibition where there, and everybody loves to say, when there is no law, there is no transgression, there is no sin. So since there is no law specifically saying you cannot do this, then clearly we can. This is the Israelites. So what the Israelites go to is when they want to justify certain types of behavior that isn't in the scripture. Or we will find unseemly. They just say, well, there's no law against it. Unfortunately, for those people, Genesis very clearly outlines why this is not acceptable for our people, including our women, because when we go to her judgment, among the things that the Most High lays out and delineates as part of her judgment, he says and your desire will be for your husband or towards your husband. So that precludes any desire for a woman if she is told from the Genesis, from the beginning, that her desire is going to be for the man that she is to marry. There is no room to interpret that she can have a desire for anyone other than that man, let alone many men, just that man in particular. So there's a reason to have a discussion about woman on woman, because that's automatically precluded by Genesis. And to that, if there's someone else that wants to comment, I use the mic.
All right. Thank you for that. That was the voice of Sister Maya. As we said earlier, we're going to open up the phone lines early for this conversation because it is one that needs to be had, especially for, like I said before, those who are new or those who are not so new or those who have perverse thoughts, and look to find scripture to kind of, like Mayana was saying, ease the conscience, so to say. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, and people often say, whatever you do behind closed doors is none of my business. But the reality is the Torah has so many rules and regulations concerning what you do behind closed doors that the text will bear out that it begs to differ, that this absolutely matters. And the reason is because whatever you do, whatever energy that you create in the secret, so to say, it will manifest in the light. This will come over to the other side. It will leak into other spaces. So if we try to cover over certain sins and transgressions and think that we're getting away with it because no one is seeing us, that's absolutely not the truth. And so for clarity's sake, we definitely have to have what some would say is a elementary conversation. Some would say it's common sense, but in this space and time, in this day and age where people, like we said before, are coming with all kind of pre-existing mental conditions, pre-existing experiences, is definitely one that's very important. So with that said, Brother Owar, we're coming back to you for you to build on your thought that you had before. And what is your input concerning that thought that because Leviticus doesn't explicitly say a woman shall not lie with womankind as she does with mankind, that it is permissible in some people's estimation? What are your thoughts on that? And have you come across this in your tenure as an awakened Israelite? The mic is yours.
Right. No, I haven't. But I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna read something. Right? How do you know something? Just say you've never read the Bible, but how you can understand something is evil or wicked when it doesn't have a purpose? A woman with a woman or a man with a man doesn't have a purpose. A man and a woman have a purpose because we could do it. So it's just that simple. But let me read this, okay? Because Brother Paul, which these disciples were brothers, and they were well in the Holy Spirit, which has been around before the end of time, and the Most High dealt with them on high levels. Look what he had written in the Scriptures, okay, that addressed that issue. This is Romans 1, verse 21. Because that when they knew the Most High, they glorified him not as the Most High. Going back to what I read with all the people from ancient times, right? Neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imagination. So if you think laying with a man laying with a man is good, or a woman laying with a woman, you're vain in your imagination. Because why? It doesn't have a purpose. Then it says, and their foolish heart was darkened. Okay? Then it says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Let me read on. And changed the glory of the uncorruptible power into an image made like a corruptible man. So it's giving us a laundry list of foolishness that come out of stupid imagination or foolish imagination. Okay? And to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. This is what happens too when you have them foolish imaginations, start worshiping rocks and all kind of crazy stuff. And it's going to go on a laundry list of other things you're going to do when you have those foolish imaginations. Then it says, wherefore the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. It's going to tell us how you dishonor your own body. It says, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than their Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Then it says, for this cause the Most High gave them up unto vile affection, for even their women did change the natural use to that which is against nature. So if you're a woman and you lay with a woman, not only is it sinful, but it's against nature. Why? Because there's no purpose for that. A woman and a woman cannot reproduce. A man and a man cannot reproduce. There's no purpose for that. You're going against the ordinance of the Creator. Okay? Then it says, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman burn in their lust. That's why I went back to the origin, like with Sodom and Gomorrah. This thing is going on now, and they're pushing it on people. They're putting it in the school. It says, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one towards another. Right? Why? What's the natural use of a woman? She bears children. That's why she has breasts. Why? Because the milk comes. Animals are set up that way. Animals give suck. Insects are set up that way. That's the ordinance that the Most High created, and you're violating the ordinance. And it says, men with men working that which is unseemly, receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was met. And even as they did not like to retain the Most High in their knowledge, this is what this is about, the Most High gave them over to a reprobate mind, okay, to do those things which are not convenient. So when you go in that, the Most High hand you over to that. You're cited for judgment when you make these decisions. You got to come out of that. Then it says, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness. It's all in the same component, okay? Fornication, all that. Homosexuality, lesbianism is a branch of the tree of fornication, okay? Just like adultery, just like having sex with animals, just like fornication, just like worshiping a rock. It's all in the same bundle. You can put to death all that stuff. But I'm going to drop the mic on that.
All right. That was the voice of Brother Award. Thank you so much for that, Brother Award. Today we, again, are opening up the mic early to hear from the listening audience. You guys are the panel this evening. And so if you have something to say at this time, feel free to press 1 or share your thoughts in the chat room or email or on social media. So I'm going to go to Brother Sal at this point and see what Brother Sal is saying. Brother Sal, are you there? Do we have any hands in the air?
Right now I'm just gathering a few questions on social media. I do have a few questions, maybe 2 or 3 questions. Let me just put it out there right now. Once again, like Amuna says, if you want to chime in, you can call in live. The show is for the people out there that have any questions or comments. Don't be shy. You know that number, 646-716-7320. Only rule that I have is no cursing. Got to keep it clean, keep it professional. But, of course, we could dialogue and chop it up about this particular topic. This person number 1, if you're already on the phone lines already, via phone or via Skype, and we'll add you in the conversation. Again, today's topic, homosexuality, a Hebrew's perspective. Matter of fact, I see somebody on the phone line right now. Let's look at the phones. Let's go to 443-815. You're live on air.
Yeah, hey, this is Brother Mercy. I just called the comment. I know Brother War, he touched the scripture I was going to touch on in Romans chapter 1. But I think the key thing is that they done what was against nature. So this homosexuality thing is a serious sin. It's an abomination. And it's something, and it talks about how they lost their reasoning. And it talks about how they, people who do such things, that not only do they commit, they did idolatry, they did those things. They did that first. But they do things that's against the very laws of nature. So that's why, and he even touched on the one in Genesis. I was going to touch on that too. Talks about how those angels and those men who wanted to sleep with those angels. And I really believe that those men knew that they were angels. I really believe they knew they were angels. And you see that even with the Nephilim, how the Nephilim, they talked about how in Genesis the sons of God saw the daughters of men. And they even in that, you're talking about, I think that's demon worship. That's what I think that is. I think that's demonic worship. I don't think it's the sons of men were actually humans. I think they were worshiping demons. I don't think they had sex with them. I think it was demonic, demon worship. I really believe that's what it is. And so you're talking about idolatry, you're talking about worshiping animals and 4-footed beasts and those things, how we see those wooden
things, and all that is demonic. So I think this is a different type of sin than simple adultery. Adultery is definitely sinful. I mean, but we even see the patriarchs committing those things. But I think when you start talking about homosexuality, it's something. It's something dealing with. You talking about a very evil type sin, because that's when you get into demon worship. But I know I'm going to get a whole lot of flack for that. But I really believe, because if you look at our schools, how they took prayer out of schools, I mean, you could just look at it. When you look at people that accept homosexuality, you see moral decay. And I just wanted to say that's why this nation, when I say this, I'm talking about the United States, that's why they're going down in moral decay. One of the reasons is because homosexuality and Satanism and those type of things. So I think you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more satanic type things coming out, and cults and things that were in the closet. You'll see them coming out, because that's what the gays were. They always here, but they're starting to come out now. And so I think that's what's going on. When you start accepting those type of things, I think in the culture you're going to start accepting a whole lot of other things. And that's all I want to say about that.
All right, thank you for that. That was the voice of Brother Mercy. Thank you for always coming in and lending your voice. And definitely agree that I agree where there's a coupling of the fact that it's not just one thing. It builds on other things. A lot of times it does open up the gateway for different lower vibrational energies and spirits to enter through. So I do agree with you that the more that you see the morality of the country divine, that you're going to see some more demonic activity happening as it elevates, as we saw. And again, nothing is new under the sun. We saw it in the time of Sodom. We saw actually, and we're going to speak about it a little bit coming up, where this is something that they did, the Grecians and the Romans. This is something that they openly did. In reading, you can openly have a paramour. This was part of a young boy lover that they say that when they were in the military, they would be their, not chaperone, they would be their mentors, and they would violate these young boys. Recently, okay, I'll leave that one. We'll come back around. Brother Sal, are you still there? You said you had some more questions before we go back to Sister Mayana. You want to go ahead and get one of those questions out?
Yeah, you got some questions here. Once again, people, you know that number, 646-716-7320. Shout out to the people that's actually sharing it. I see we have people sharing the show on their personal page and then listening to it inside different groups. We appreciate you guys for, attending and checking out the show live. Well, let me see what are the questions that I have. It says, how many people say they've been born this way? Some individuals show signs from as young as 3 years old. Having said this, is this a DNA thing or a spiritual issue? I believe Awar touched that earlier, but Awar, that.
Yeah, according to my understanding, man, I wonder about that, right? Because when I was in elementary, when I was a kid, my father should be this guy who used to play with us, right? Young guy, I'm about 4, 5, 6 years old, and he used to play with us. And my father told me, he said, look, man, y'all watch that little boy. So I said, wow, Dad. He said, because when y'all go to make pee-pee, he's trying to look at your little, look at you. So I said, really? He said, yeah. And I never, So as I get older, I'm walking down 125th Street in Harlem. Who's coming down the street sweeter than a sugar daddy? This guy, man. So I ended up seeing his sister later on the line. I asked her, how's your brother doing? She said, you don't want to know. I said, why? She said, he's he's a transvestite prostitute over there on Park Avenue. So that's why I think sometimes, it's a judgment. Like, that can be a judgment. And the reason why I say that, right, is because of this. This is Ecclesiastes 39th chapter in the King James Apocrypha, right? It says this. This is Ecclesiastes 39, verse 26. It says, the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of grapes, oil, and clothing. All these things are for the good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil. There be spirits, they are turned, where it says, There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on false tropes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So to me, like I said earlier, homosexuality and lesbianism, all that stuff, those are evil spirits in people, okay? It's a possibility that Most High set that up, that when those spirits attack you or get in you, it can be leading you to your destruction, okay? That's just my understanding. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic.
Yeah, there's some follow-up comments actually to that. Some people are actually saying that they have families where there's no signs of homosexuality, and it is that one person in the family, that has, that's like that. If it's a spiritual thing, why it's not going on to more than one person, things of that nature. Mayana got.
With regard to the question, well, why this isn't something that is present in more people in the family, that's like asking, why doesn't everybody? It's a false dichotomy. It's the kind of question saying that you need to see things in a particular way. All right, everybody has a different. I don't want to say affliction, but everyone has a different test. And what happened, whatever this person is dealing with, some people, it cannot be argued. It cannot be completely stated. I will not be one to completely state that people don't have anomalies in their genetic code. But the thing about that is that for anyone having any type of anomaly in their genetic code, we don't normalize that. It's an anomaly because it's abnormal. So we don't say that because it's present in a person, it's something that we have to access or give permission to. Instead, it's something that we address and we recognize that this is the case. And if it's something that is to the detriment of the person, we intercede. This is something that is to the detriment of the child. As a child, we're talking about a child that's 3 years old. Children, and I think there's a problem with adults accepting putting a sexual vibration on a child. The child is already type of sexual maturity to understand these kinds of behaviors. The problem is that we don't understand that children are not supposed to be sexual beings. If there's a child demonstrating sexuality at 3 years old, that is supposed to be interceded on the part of even among heterosexual children. If you see your daughter or your son behaving sexually, you intercede and you steer them into the areas of propriety. That's just what your responsibility is as an adult. You don't say, I'm going to let them rock out. These 3-year-olds are behaving in a way that as parents we're going to sit on the sidelines and let them rock out and see where it goes. That's irresponsible on your part, be that a heterosexual child or a homosexual child. So let this not be a conversation where we are saying that, we are indiscriminately pointing our fingers at the homosexual child and becoming very permissive of these sexual expressions in heterosexual children. A heterosexual 3-year-old who is pursuing any type of sexual endeavor should be checked on that because it's inappropriate. A 3-year-old child needs to be worried about their ABCs and other things. They should not be concerning themselves about their genitalia in that way. This is not to say because there are plenty of psychiatrists and such that will tell you that you go through phallic stages and blah, blah, blah. This is not to talk about to that point. Because even then, they are not talking about children. Because I study psychology. They're not talking about children as sexual beings. They're talking about these are their explorative years. And you are still supposed to monitor those explorative years, and it has to do with their relationships with their parents, whether or not they have good experiences and they evolve into responsible adults, or if those kinds of explorative years go unchecked and they create or they result in maladaptive behaviors. So with that, I yield the mic, and if I didn't answer that question or so has better or would like further clarification, by all means they can ask. But that's my answer to that.
All right, Amuna. Same question. What is it, a DNA thing? Is it a spiritual thing? What's your thoughts?
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of everything that was just said. There's some unclean spirits that's in the earth. Also, there's exposure. There's exposure, like Mayana is saying, inappropriate behavior, especially with molestation and things of that nature towards young boys and girls at a very young age. And then it becomes something that they internalize and psychologically decide that, hey, I cannot trust, or in a young boy, oftentimes when they are molested, and there's a lot of pedophilia type activity, even in the community of conscious people, quote unquote black people, and the world at large. And so because of this, a lot of little boys are violated, and then they have this struggle of being attracted to the violator. So this is why I say I think it's a combination of things that may have happened in their past. It may also be that in certain instances when young boys are being grown up and they're allowed to overly connect with their feminine aspect within themselves, and there's no masculine energy there to balance, and then he begins to emulate the mother or the sister or the aunt or the grandmother. And then by nature, because they are attracted to men and he's lacking that masculine energy, he becomes attracted to men. So I think there are many factors, especially in this space and time, that goes into why it is that people lean in that direction. Like I said, once again, trauma, spirituality, as well as culture and environment that they're growing up in, and letting them know, like in this space and time, they're putting the young boys in tight pants. They're putting, now, young boys are running around in pink and very effeminate type colors, and they're saying, no, it's salmon. You understand what I'm saying? So especially now the culture, and not to leave out the food and the chemicals that the mother is intaking. So now it becomes biological. So it's not on one front. It's really, right now, the war is on, and it's on many different fronts. And so, yes, you may be able to see it in one person in your family, but at the same time, what happened to that one person in your family? You know what I'm saying? What happened to that individual along the journey? Because oftentimes people suffer in silence, and you don't even know that they were victims of some kind of heinous violation and crime against a child. And so I think it goes deeper, but that's my thoughts on the matter.
I want to add something to what Amuna said, if I may. We good on time? Okay, so Amuna said she made an allusion to the food. Now, she goes on to say that it includes what the mother has taken during the gestation period. And that might sound weird to the listening audience, but there's a precedence for that in Scripture. For example, we find that Manoah's wife, Samson's mother, is the one that takes the vow of the Nazarite. It isn't Samson. Samson is born into being a Nazarite because it is his mother that is told to take that vow. So in vitro, he is already, while in her womb, participating in the vow of the Nazarite because his mother has taken that. So we see that spirit and that vibration is already put on Samson without any choice being made on his part or anything else happening for him. So when she says to you, it has to do with what the mother intakes. I wanted to show that there is a precedence from that, handed down from our ancestors. That's all I really wanted to say on that.
Hey, can I add one more thing to that? This is Proverbs 12:26. It says, "The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduces them." Like the sister Mona was saying, you got that going on too, where you have the television, radio, the movies. It's seducing the people that are not strong in Scripture or wasn't raised in that kind of environment. So you have that going on as well. I should have added that. You have a lot of seducing going on. Okay, like I saw a little young kids rapping about being faggots, like that was something dope, something great. They had it on the internet. So they got a lot of seducing going around. Evil spirits are seducing a lot of people. And I remember back when I was coming up, people were ashamed of that. Now it's like a fad. It's like a fad now. You down if you, fruity. But I'm gonna pass the mic.
And that's absolutely correct, Brother War. I'm not sure if I saw the same thing, but the children are being enticed that this is now the new normal. And we have to understand that while we send our children, sometimes people say, oh, it's so terrible out there. But the reality, you're sending the most precious thing onto you out there. And they say things like, even little Hebrew children, there's nothing wrong. I have a such and such friend. There's nothing wrong with that. And because now society is pressuring you to say that now, as the Sister Mayana said at another time, now you're the one with the issue because now you're homophobic. You're the one with the phobia, with the fear of this normalized behavior. So, yes, the children are glorifying this right now. I saw little children rapping about, homosexual type activities. And were actually little boys, 12 or 13 years old. And I'm like, wow, where have I been? Under a rock? What is this? How is this ever cool? But apparently it is now because they're seeing the effeminization of the so-called black man. They're seeing, Kanye put on a skirt. They're seeing this type of behavior where whatever the next one name in the dress. They're seeing this type of things, and they're saying, hey, it's cool. I remember when, what's the guy's name? I don't remember what his name is, but he put on the little leotard things. He put on the little leotard-looking tight pants. And then now all of a sudden, I couldn't believe it, but the young men are actually walking around in hot pink and different-looking spandex pants. And some of our children, even those who know themselves, when they go out there, they present one way to you, but when they go into these spaces, they're actually absorbing what they're seeing and what they're hearing and internalizing it. And so this is why this topic is very important. But, Brother Sal, I'll give it back to you for any questions that they may have at this time, or anyone who may press 1 who would like to comment. Feel free to do so. Brother Sal?
All right, once again, people, this is your time. It's all about the people getting involved and asking their questions and their comments. I see a lot of people sharing it on their page. I appreciate that. The number is 646-716-7320. Feel free to chime in. When you press number 1, we'll add you in the conversation. Now, what about those people that are actually going through it in their families, or they may have a friend that's going through these things? As Hebrew Israelites, how do we deal with people that's going through this in our families or friends? Do we stay away, or how do we interact with homosexuality within our families or within our circles of friends? Let's go with Water Swordsman.
Right. See, that's where it gets very complicated, because this is what. Let me get Matthew's, right. Let me show you something. This is Matthew's 4 verse 17. Let me show you what the Messiah said. Okay, because the church systems are killing the people. They're telling you to embrace that. Okay, and no matter what you are, you're one of the children of God. He loves you regardless. You can wear high heel pumps. Your man wearing high heel pumps with lipstick, and he still love you regardless. And that's a lie. That's a lie what they're teaching. This is what the Son of Man said. This is Matthew 4 verse 17. Well, that time, we say Yahushua began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Now, a lot of people overlook that word repent. You know what that word repent means? Let's get it. Okay, what it means in the scripture. What's the scriptural definition of repent? What does it mean? What did he mean when he said that? See, they don't teach this in the church. They have multitudes of people dying just because they don't understand that little word repent means. This is what it means. This is Ezekiel 14, verse 6. It says, therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord power, repent. It says, turn yourselves from your idols and turn away your faces from all your abominations. So that's an abominable act. So if you have a member and you tell them, say, look, this is what the Lord said. You need to turn away from that. Now, if they don't want to do it, the scripture says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. That's how serious this thing is. It's either them or the Most High. Who you love more? Who your loyalty lay with? Them or the Most High. If you not turn, you can't be around me with that. You got to turn. You got to turn away. You got to repent. Then we can rock. But if you don't repent, you still got that spirit in you. You don't want to get it out of you. I got to say shalom. But I'm going to pass the mic.
Mariana.
When it comes to members of the family and people that are close to you, again, we speak about being uncomfortable in those spaces. But the problem is that, you're not doing anyone any favors. by not telling them the truth about what you understand to be correct, and showing them, why you have this understanding. Having very honest discussions. If they're your friends and this is your family, then you should not be the one who has to hide and put things aside. Have these conversations. Just you're concerning yourself with whether or not they feel respected by you, but what about your space and protecting whether or not you are being respected in these relationships? We don't live in a vacuum. The people on this panel are not talking from, dead pages and flat text. We live and breathe the same air that you do. We're living in the same cultural context that you are. And, you have to figure that the people that we are referring to when we talk about Torah and we talk about the Old and New Testament, as it's often discussed, these are real people living for their purposes in real time. And they were dealing with these circumstances. Do you not think they had family and friends who they had to cut off, or who they had to deal with, who may have been the sons of a mother who doesn't understand where this came from? So you're not dealing with anything that hasn't been dealt with before. There would be no way for us to refer to this text if it was a brand new situation. But I understand comfortable, and I can understand how it could become dicey in these relationships. But if it was any other thing that was potentially dangerous for them, or that you knew didn't make logistical sense or natural sense, we're speaking about things in terms of nature, and I know a lot of people have a problem with what's natural and unnatural, but things that go forward for a purpose. In another episode, we're going to talk about the purpose of sex and what it's for. But if you can't have those conversations, then you have to reevaluate that relationship. If you can't be honest and you can't be who you are in that space, then I think our problems are deeper than whether or not that person is homosexual. And that's my response to that.
All right, Namona.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things that goes on with families, especially in this space and time. And I'll just have to say the first commandment: put no one before the Most High. You know what I mean? And it's there for a reason, because you're going to have these emotional ties with families, friends, and everybody else. But when you put that commandment to the forefront of your mind, that there's no one that could supersede the Creator, and if this thing that they're doing, this act that they're doing is an abomination before the Most High, so detestable for the Most High, you just have to look at it as your connection with that now makes you, by association, abominable and detestable. Because it says, I believe the Psalm says, blessed is the man who sit not in the counsel of the unrighteous, nor sitteth in the seat of sinners, but his delight is in the Most High. You understand? So if it is that you rocking out and it's not me, but I'm chilling with it, then you're going to get whatever comes that way. And so, my answer is not really long. I know it sounds, people say hard because I grew up with them. I knew them since I was 2, and nappies and all of this stuff like this. But the reality is that it's just the same way the Torah tells you in the Proverbs, don't make a friendship with an angry person. Why? Because they're gonna pull you in. So even if you are not doing what they're doing, you take the stance of, oh, well, it's not me, and I don't care what they do in their bedroom, by association. By who we choose to associate with ourselves, we're also going to get meted out whatever we're supposed to get meted out on what is coming their way. So this is the very important thing about having to sever these bonds. One particular instance, it wasn't a homosexuality, but in the Torah, when there was people fell lusting and carrying on in the wilderness, the Most High tells the Levites, put your sword on your thigh and go through the camp. And they weren't even supposed to pity their family members, because there's a point where the Most High says the Creator, the laws that govern the universe are first. And that supersedes any relationship, So with that, I'll yield the mic.
All right, people, once again, that number is 646-716-7320. Let's go to the phone lines. Go to 443-815. You're back on.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, that it's a lot, the homosexuality is a lot more prevalent than we know. I have some friends who are actors, and they're in the acting field, and they say there's so many black actors that are gay that you wouldn't even know. And, I don't know what he said is true, but he said there's so many. He said that you almost have to be gay to be a famous actor. That's what he talked about. He said because homosexuality has infiltrated the Hollywood scene. And he was saying that a lot of people in Hollywood are gay. And what you'll see, and I think this thing started really from the Catholic Church, because the priests are not allowed to marry, and then you got the Catholic nuns, they're not allowed to marry, which I don't understand where they got that from as far as scripture. I guess they all say that they were descendants of Christ. Christ didn't have a wife, so they figured they should have a wife, but they don't. But Christ is the Messiah, though, and I don't think Christ told anyone not to get married. So I don't understand their logic behind that. But I think they all. That's the excuse they use. But in any event, the Catholic Church is a very powerful and political powerhouse in our world today. The Catholics, and people say that Christianity is the most popular religion in the world, but really Christianity falls under the umbrella of the Catholic Church. And a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, but that's really the truth. A lot of our churches were started by the Catholic Church that exists. So when you talk about Christianity, it's really under the Catholic, because they consider Catholics Christians. So when you talk about that, well, that's why we use that word Christian, and it includes the Catholic. So I just wanted to say that it's a lot more prevalent, and the homosexuality community has a lot of more power than we give them credit for. And another thing I wanted to say is that, and see how now our TV shows, gays are even on some of our TV shows now, and so you see they're this. Because TV at one time they didn't put everything on TV. You didn't put everything on TV, and then as we got more black shows on TV, if you notice, the gays kind of snuck in, and in that, and Obama had a lot to do with that. I like Obama, but he had a lot to do with it because he basically fought the Supreme Court on homosexuality and making it legal. So you see, black people were used as a vehicle to push gay rights. And what they did was I'm gonna tell you what they did was real, real sneaky and evil. They misrepresented the civil rights movement for the gay movement, because the gays are saying we're just like the blacks, how they were mistreated. That's how we're mistreated. So they used blacks as a vehicle to promote, and used our black president Obama to do it, to promote the homosexuality movement. And I just wanted to ask the panel the question on that: how we've been used to promote the gay agenda. Because all the other presidents, they didn't use none of them, but they waited till they got a black president. Now they want to push this gay agenda. That's one of the ask the panelists how blacks have been used to promote the what we're talking about in our discussion today. But that's it.
Brother Mercy, I'm going to leave you on the line since you already called in your hand, so I'm going to leave you on the panel. Anybody want to answer that, though? Go ahead.
Yeah, can I say something on that? Yeah, what we have to understand, like the scripture says, there's nothing new under the sun. We're in the latter leg of the Roman Empire, okay? So let's go to the beginning of the Roman Empire and let's see what was going on. This is First Maccabees, which were the Greeks, and they spawned off into being the Romans, and this is how you got all the way up to America today. It says, this is First Maccabees 1 verses, I'm going to start at 7. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years. It's talking about Alexander the Greek. Daniel spoke about this guy when he mentioned the leopard, okay? It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants there ruled every one in his place. And after his death, they all put on crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evil were multiplied in the earth. So when these so-called European nations, which are like the Romans and Greeks, when they got reign of the earth and started killing and murdering, the evils multiplied all on the planet Earth. Then it says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surname Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king, who had been in hostage in Rome. He reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, okay? We had wicked men among our people, right? Like you have today, like you said, the stars, the people that are active. Look what these same wicked men did back then under the regime of the Greeks. It says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. That's the covenant, the homosexuality, anything that's adverse to the Father's law. And let's prove that, and I'm going to give you the mic after this. This is the 41st verse. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. Don't that sound familiar? The one world government. Don't that sound familiar? So there's nothing new under the sun. And look what he said. And everyone should leave his laws. That's why you see the promotion of homosexuality now. Bestiality. They have laws on that. Man can lay with a beast. Okay? They did legislation. A man can marry a man. They were doing this in the past. This is in the bloodline. It's an evil spirit. Okay? It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. That's going on now. A lot of our people are being down with the get down. Then it says, and sacrificing to idols and profaning the Sabbath. For the king has sent letters by messenger unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. That's happening now. That's all. I'm going to pass the mic, but when I come back, I'm going to bring it up to Babylon the Great, which is America, and you're going to see the same things going on right now. That's it. I'm going to pass the mic on that.
Let's go to Amuna.
Yeah, War took my scripture. I was saving it, Brother War, but it's cool. That scripture that Brother War just brought out to show that, again, when these nations round about us are doing these things, Israel has the propensity to follow them and even turn it up a little bit. But what I found interesting in the first Maccabees was that they introduced these gymnasiums and the Grecians and these kind of guys. They had a certain culture. It talks about them and their culture and their customs. And part of that was this nakedness. They were free with their unclothed selves. But I say that to say that in this space and time when men are so much like, sports and football, we're going to play the baseball and all this stuff and like this. On the flip side of that is when they go into these spaces where all of this masculine energy goes into the locker room and they're in that same kind of naked space. One of the things when my brothers were younger they used to complain about is not liking to go to the locker room to change their clothes because you don't know who is there, and they expose you into this spirit, let's say, that all of this masculine energy, and then you go into a space where you're vulnerable, where you're naked in front of your teammates. You understand? And then you have people patting each other on the butt and running up the thing and carrying on like this. This stuff is still here today in the same way it was during that time, as the Maccabees is accounting for it. And I just think it's very interesting that now you have some of these players coming out that they're openly now homosexual, who are in these sports. And what is the connection? I really, there's a connection somewhere in there. But I'll go ahead and give it to Sister Mayana concerning that thought process.
Okay, when we talk about the surrounding cultures that Israel shared cultural areas with during various points in time, we find that, as Sister Amuna stated, we tended to absorb a lot of their behaviors and activities, which is why you find in several spaces in the Torah prohibitions against participating in those kinds of behaviors. We see that, we can't do cutting of the flesh for the dead. We see that you can't see a goat in its own mother's milk. These are all allusions to practices that were normative for the people that were surrounding us. So seeing it happen during the time of the Maccabees, seeing it happen during the time of the first century and before then, this is not an anomaly. Again, it goes back to the statement that I was making earlier where the caller or the writer asked, what do we do now? we do what we did then. As the sister said, we adopt these practices. There's all of this sneakiness happening in these arenas that don't necessarily need to include the feminine energy. So when you have those kinds of spaces, these things become very problematic. And so when we look at, just to keep it moving, like the way we have this set up is we're going to look at some of the current events and some of the other cultural aspects of the worldview. So to that purpose, what I would like to bring out is like we're kind of made to feel in this space and time that what we are saying is not right, it's not fair, and that it's somehow antiquated, it's outdated. We're all 2016 now, so, we need to get with the program. There are 78 countries, according to according to Pew Research, that says that, you know what, we're not alone in this thought processes. There are about 78 countries that criminalize homosexuality. Almost half of those countries were in Africa, with 33 countries. Asia, which includes the Middle East, had 25 countries. The Americas had 11, which includes Barbados, Belize, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Trinidad, Tobago, just to name a few. Dominica made the list, but has recently stated that they would not enforce the anti-gay laws, but not for the reasons that you think. On the book, they have a law on the books that carries a 10-year prison term for anal intercourse, but this includes heterosexual anal intercourse. So whether it was homosexual or a hetero couple that engaged in homosexuality, according to their legal code, that would carry a 10-year prison term. The U.S. considers itself so progressive and that anti-gay laws are unconstitutional. But 13 states still have them on the book. Those include Alabama, Florida, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, North and South Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. The Oceania has 8, including Samoa, Tonga, the Solomon Islands, Indonesia, Russia, Lithuania, Ukraine, Moldova. All of these places also have anti-gay or anti-gay propaganda laws. What's interesting about Russia is that in 2013, Russia enacted a law against any positive mention of homosexuality in the presence of minors, including on the Internet. So we see that it kind of goes back to what we were saying before, the idea that our children are impressionable and that the behavior and the degree to which we intercede as adults are important on the impression and the development of our young people. So even in looking at how, from a worldview, how this behavior is understood or received by people, we are not overreacting. This is not something that was way, way, way back when, and people today have evolved past that. It's kind of like a child growing up and saying that they have outgrown the wisdom of their ancestors. This is not the case. This type of behavior is something that is recognized in many spaces as not useful, not purposeful. We're talking about, when we talk about homosexuality, what we're essentially talking about is pursuing their own pleasure. We're not talking about, and that's the problem. But the problem is when you hear us talk about things in terms of Torah, we talk about cultural, historical precedences, and we talk about the Most High, people want to make it seem as if we are doing something we should not be doing. Instead, we should be all very invested and concerned in this activity. But this activity are people pursuing their own lust, pursuing their own desires. On what wise, under what authority are we supposed to accommodate people who have decided to pursue their own desires? That is, again, that goes back to my previous point. Are we here to stand in fear of the Creator, or are we here to compliment and make comfortable and appease the Created? With that question, I'll let that rest on the floor.
All right, we got somebody on the phone lines right about now. Once again, people, this is your time, people. This is your time. If you're on social media, if you're on Blog Talk Radio, or on the phone right now, if you're on the phone or via Skype, just press number 1 and we'll add you in. But if you're listening on social media, you got to dial that number, 646-716-7320, and then you press number 1, and we can add you in the conversation, let your voice be heard. And by the way, this show is archived, so you can always go back and go check it out. You can check out the iTunes podcast. You can check it out on YouTube, or go to Blog Talk Radio later on and check out the show. But let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 661-857. You're live on air.
Hey, this is Brother Gerald in California. How's everybody doing?
How you doing?
Oh, I just came in, and I think I inadvertently pushed number 1. I'm gonna yield the mic, and I'll offer up something later when I have something to say. Peace, y'all.
All right, cool, man. Appreciate you. All right, just press number 1 again. That'll take you off the switchboard. Press number 1 again. That'll take you off the switchboard. All right. And we do have another question I got to read out to you guys. It says, when people say that they've been free from homosexuality, do you believe there is a true spiritual recovery, or is there something always there in a feminine state? You know, there's people out there that say, you know, I've been delivered, I've been free, but, you know, yes, they still have like a feminine tendency. What do you guys think about that? Let's go to Brother Mercy. Brother Mercy, are you there?
Oh, hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
brother?
Yeah, I'm here. All right. Well, I was going to say, that's a good question, because I always wondered about that question myself. If they really can, is there in recovery? I think I would be wrong to say there's no recovery. I think I'd be wrong because, there are people who say they recovered. I think T.D. Jakes said he recovered from homosexuality. You know, there have been people who say they recovered, you know, but I always wondered about that. I always wondered, dang, how could you ever go that far? And you know, how can you turn back from that, you know? But, you know, that's just...
Yeah, I know T.D. Jakes got down like that, man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but he's married now and everything. But he has a wife and all that good stuff. So evidently he's changed, you know. So, but there's a lot of guys who are married. That's another topic. Who are married, but they still undercover gay. You know, you got people that see back in the old days. People used to get married to cover up their homosexuality. You know, you got that problem too. But I just wanted to say I think it's possible. But I just feel like, dang, I don't see how a man could do that. And you know, seem like the tendency to be still there. But at the same time, I think there is a possible recovery because I think with faith, we have to believe that all things are possible. So, but at the same time, I think it's a grievous sin. It has to be dealt with, you know, with the Most High, with the power of the Most High, because like I said before, it is unnatural sin. It is something unnatural, and I think it's something demonic. I believe it's something demonic, and I think, you know, you have to be delivered from it. But yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
All right, let's go to Amuna. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, and I wanted him to be able to come on today, but I didn't get back in touch with him. There's actually an elder who I had done an interview with, so maybe I never released the interview. And he tells a story about what happened to him when he was in his teens, and the fact that now he's in his 50s and he's never gone back. So I just wanted to say, just by even having a conversation with him and hearing him give his testimony of his story, is that the act of homosexuality, when you say have they changed, it's the act that makes you a homosexual. So whether or not they still retain some of these feminine or effeminate type movements or sound in their voice, like I said, that is something that may be environmental, you know, whatever they've been exposed to. But whether or not they have actually engaged in the act is what's going to say whether or not they've actually changed. You know, if they have inclinations, it's like saying, okay, the person said they don't smoke crack anymore. I always wonder, you know, are you still a crackhead? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I'm sorry. It's like you have this inclination, but if you ain't never seen them smoke crack in 50 years, okay, they're not a crackhead anymore. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's different in this space and time because the things that the Torah left on record, one wouldn't have the judgments that are left on record, one wouldn't have to wonder because there wouldn't be, you know, present for you to be wondering that question. But being that we're in this space and time where that question is one that's going to be on the table because, you know, we're not doing what Torah says do, and so, we thinking those things. But again, people can leave certain things. People cannot go back to certain things. People can be, like you said, there's some lower vibrational demonic type energy that enters and takes hold of people. It's not necessarily, quote, the devil, but there is influence, and that we're seeing the influence on the children. We're seeing it take hold of children. We're seeing children being convinced that they are homosexuals. I always, had a problem with, and now that they're convincing them, they're having these conversations in the schools. They're putting it, as a matter of fact, and on the subject, as I wrote the children's book, and now I'm doing a little bit of marketing for it just today, I was looking at an online site that gives away books because they say not enough children read. Lo and behold, they have this banner on the site that says LGBT Awareness Month, and that they will send your child with this free book drive, LGBT Censored or whatever the acronym is, books. And I'm here like, what? So they're actually developing a market that they're marketing to your little child this type of activity. So, yes, they're trying to influence. Yes, it is a spirit. And in my estimation, yes, someone could no longer engage in that type of behavior and walk away from it. But do they still have the remnants of it? There's a possibility, because, like you said, that is a grievous sin. So, yes, I think you're still going to have some residuals to a certain degree from it. But with that, I relinquish the mic.
Amayana?
Yeah, I would agree with what Amanda said about the fact that when you look at the activity, people get offended when we discuss things in terms of choice. But the fact is, any kind of sex, heterosexual sex included, is a choice. You choose to have sex. It is not like breathing. It's something that you have to, with full awareness, enter into. Whether or not you participate in any kind of sexual activity is a matter of choice. Just to give you a heterosexual example, we still have people, the people are still struggling with whether or not they can engage or should engage in sex on the Sabbath. This is heterosexual sex. You have to make a choice. You can choose not to have sex on the seventh day. You do not have to have sex at all. So this idea of whether or not a person can be delivered from it, like Amanda said, it's just a matter of not engaging in the activity. So, yeah, I can without question believe someone has turned away from a particular activity that they have every bit of control over participating in. To add one further thing, I was about to use the mic, but I've decided against that. One of the other things that we are confronted with on this topic is that you will hear many people say, but there are degrees to sex. There are no degrees of sex. All sins are equal. I'm not really sure where that came from. I don't know if that's a Christian thing, but there are no differences in sins. But the fact is, as you've heard on the panel has repeatedly spoken about this particular activity as an abomination. When we see here that there are degrees that the Most High does, in Proverbs he says, for six things does the Most High hate, but the seventh is an abomination. There are things that, there are levels to these particular sins. The sister said this is an abomination, and it can have some residual components to it that outside of the act still may remain, but absolutely, I completely believe that a person can turn away from any illicit activity and be, quote, delivered, end quote, from it.
All right, the water swordsman. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, that's the truth too, right? That's an evil spirit, okay? Like one time I was doing a study on evil spirits through the scriptures, and I saw a show on a serial killer. A lot of those serial killers were saying that when they used to take people's lives, it was voices tempting them in their head. Do it, do it, do it. So I want to read this, right? This is Matthew 3:11. It says, indeed, it says, I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance. This is John the Baptist talking. But he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I'm not worthy to bear, he shall baptize you with the Holy Spirit and with fire. So I read that to say this, right? This is what the Messiah was doing when he came, because going back to the things that the Greeks were doing, they were forcing Israel to do those treacherous acts, homosexuality. Israel was in a bad situation. So when the Messiah came back, he had to cast a lot of spirits out of the people. This is Luke 9:1. It says, then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. So diseases are even of spirits, evil spirits. They're all spirits. So that homosexual stuff is evil spirits. So this is what it says about that. Can somebody be cured from that if it's an evil spirit? Yeah. Okay. Here it is. This is Mark 9, starting at 23. It says, Yahweh said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Then it says, and straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. When Yahweh saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit. So people had spirits of foul spirit. He rebuked them, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried and wet him sore and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said he is dead. But Yahweh took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, why could not we cast him out? So the disciples were asking why they couldn't do that, what he was doing, taking the spirits out, evil spirits out of people. Okay? And this is what he said. And he said unto them, this can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. So if you entice or off with evil spirits and you really believe and you pray to the Most High, he would take that evil spirit out of you. So he's the one that sent it in you. So you can be cured from that. But that's all I'm saying. I'm going to pass the mic.
We have another caller standing by. Once again, we have like 27 minutes on the air, people. We have 27 minutes on the air. Again, the show is archived, so whatever you say on the phone lines will be archived. You can always go back and go check out the show. Again, the number is 646-716-7320. All you got to do is press number 1, and we'll add you in the conversation. Homosexuality, a Hebrew's perspective. Let's go to the next caller. 832-245. Live on air.
How you doing, brothers and sisters? Shalom, shalom. It's Robert from Sound of Israel. I just have to agree with Brother Awar, what he was saying with it being a spirit, because I had spoken to some brothers before, and I noticed one particular guy. He pretty much sympathized with the homosexual plight, and he would kind of make excuses and stuff like that, and he wants to go with the, well, it's born that way, or it's a desire, it's a natural. And I talk with the brother, and I'm like, listen, that's an excuse to say, well, hey, I'm born that way. Okay, we know there's no genetic, there's nothing in a genetics that says, okay, someone's predisposed to that, but we all know that we all have desires. Okay, so it's a desire. And so I told the brother, I said, look, we all have desires, but that doesn't mean just because we have the desire that it's okay. We don't have to succumb to our desires. If it's an unnatural desire, then we should resist that. And I definitely believe that it's a spirit. So I'm definitely with you, Brother Ward, in that. And it's just this whole agenda out there when we look at, in the media, and we look at shows and movies and stuff like that. Sometimes the most if we pay attention, sometimes the most level-headed or likable characters are the homosexual characters and stuff in these shows. So that's just one of the things we really, really got to look at and just keep our spirit about and keep our wits about us, and not just succumb to what the world is trying to put upon us. We just have to resist that out there. And anyway, I don't want to take up any more. You got time. I appreciate it. Shalom.
Oh, bro.
I appreciate that. And I'm hearing some background noise. Anybody outside or something like that? Just mute your mics. I'm hearing like background if you're outside driving or something like that. Mute your mics. But yeah, once again, the number is 646-716-7320. For those of you that want to call in, I see we have a lot. Like I said, we have a lot of people on social media. I got the emails coming in, people interacting, liking the show. But if you want to call in and let your voice be heard, again, that number is 646-716-7320. Here's the next question. Homosexuals, this is the wrong spelling. It says homosexuals where we like it or not. He spelled it wrong. Whether we like it or not, okay. It says homosexuals, whether we like it or not, is gaining more political plus ethical momentum. Do you believe that gays will one day have the power to come against heterosexuals to the point where we are being condemned? Okay. Let's go to Water Swordsman.
No. Let me explain what's going on here. This is Revelation. This is what's going on. This is Revelation, the 7th chapter, right? Starting at 1. It says, and after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. So we get in a visual, according to John the Revelator, what's going on, what we don't see. There's angels police this planet, okay? They police this planet, but look what's going down. It says, after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. What wind is it talking about? It's talking about destruction, like it says. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to earth, and the sea. The angel is going to judge this place, just like it judged Sodom and Gomorrah. But the reason why it hasn't happened yet, because there's certain things that have to go down. This is what's got to go down first. Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their forehead. So this knowledge got to reach brothers and sisters, and then the destruction's coming. Nobody's getting away with nothing. You think this is going to flourish, and there's going to be a kingdom of homosexuals that's going to overthrow the heterosexuals? No. The Most High is going to destroy this place, just like he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what's coming up. So the reason why I'm still sitting here is because people have to be sealed in their head with this true knowledge and understanding. He's waking people up before he destroys this place. He's giving mercy and time for people to repent and return back to the Father. But it's a set time where he's going to destroy this place. You see it. You see the prophecies coming to pass. You see the overindulgence of violence all over the planet. That's not something that's just happening. Those are the signs. I'm going to pass the mic with that.
All right, Muna and Bob, I have to step away for a few minutes, and I'm going to let you take over for a while, but you can answer and just go around the table of answers.
Thank you for the question. And, definitely, there is a push, and there is, you see in the media, within the system in school, there is definitely a push to make one feel as though you have to accept what is going on. It was like a few months ago when, what was her name? The European woman who declined, she was the clerk of the court, I believe, and she said she wasn't going to sign the paper. And for a show, they put her in jail. You understand what I'm saying? Because she said, look, I'm not going to approve this thing. I forgot her name. Her name escapes me right now. And so they're showing you if you don't, and then they had the cameras there and everybody's jumping up and down and so they're showing you, listen, it's kind of like that Sodom and Gomorrah vibe where I'm going to try and force on you. I'm going to attack you. I'm going to tear you down. I'm going to convince you that something is wrong with you. So there definitely is a play to go for the minds of those who now are, quote, unquote, normal. There was recently, because I like to watch the news and see what's going on, but on the ground you had some brothers and sisters who I interviewed on another show who were doing an event in New York called the Straight Black Pride. I don't know if you've heard of it. But they're making a push back to say, listen, I am man, woman, and child, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, long story short, the homosexual community went to the venue and threatened them to say, hey, listen, don't let them have this here. And so when you talk about power in those realms, yes, they do have a level of either I'm going to sue you or I'm going to intimidate you or I'm going to do whatever it is that I'm going to do to you so that you will close your mouth. I believe it was another actress, and I'm just some situations to the question because it is happening. There was a young actress who they asked her a question, and just in her questioning, she said, I don't agree with that lifestyle. They came for her because a lot of the people who's in the media, a lot of the people who are writing these articles and doing these shows, like our Brother Mercy was saying earlier, there's a whole homosexual culture. And so they came for her hard. And she was like, wow, it was, in her mind, she's now backpedaling because, again, she wants to be in that space. But she had to retract on some of the things that she said. And some of the people, a lot of these people who are in the limelight, they will go on records by saying, I don't subscribe, but I don't have anything really to say to those who do. And this is kind of the silencing that's happening now. This is the effect and the push to make your voice now of none effect if you choose not to indulge in that type of lifestyle. And so, yes, I definitely think that that's what they are doing. It's not they're attempting to do. They are doing, and it's been said that in Africa they're going to certain countries and saying to them, I will not give you aid unless you pass this homosexual law bill. I don't want to misquote. I think it's Zambia, not Zambia, Zimbabwe. I have to go back and check. But there was one African country where the president said you could take that and keep walking. So this is kind of the exchange. It's not only in America. There's a push to have it around the world, to accept this. And the question is, like Brother Award keeps going back to, there's something spiritual going on. And this activity definitely is going to further make the world go in the direction where there is no, let's say, spiritually immunity. First you had the idols, and now you're engaging in this debauchery and certain type of behavior that is definitely going to go on the downward spiral. So with that, I'll go ahead and give that to Sister Mayana as I hear somebody calling me real quick. Well, Sister Mayana?
All right, well, we look at Job, the 15th chapter and the 16th verse, which reads, how much more abominable and filthy is man, which drinketh iniquity like water. So we see here this idea that iniquity is being consumed like water, which is a natural element that's needed for sustaining. And iniquity, obviously, is the counter product to that, which will sustain life. Iniquity will take life. And we see that in Job 15:16, it's saying that man has become more abominable and filthy, and with the drinking his own iniquity like water. So, as Sister Moon alluded to before, I have said before that there was a point where homosexuality was considered a disorder and was listed in the DSM as a disorder. They lobbied to have that removed. They did not appreciate, they did not accept that they should be considered as having a mental disorder as it was cataloged in this manual. But instead, what has happened is now that they have escaped that stigma, they have removed themselves as having a mental disorder, but has given it to the rest of us. We have a phobia if we will not indulge or encourage or support that behavior. We have a phobia. Phobias are listed in the DSM-4, which means they have effectively removed themselves out of the diagnostic manual and placed all of us in it. So, to the question of will this eventually become so big that they are the ruling class and the rest of us are pushed into abnormality, I would have to say no. I don't think that, because we still retain agency. We still have the ability to educate our children. The problem is that we have placed that responsibility in the hands of others. If we retain our agency, if we are accountable to our children, to our family members, to our friends and our loved ones, then we can effectively maintain a foothold. Like the brother said before, there's only so much that the Most High is going to allow for us to spiral into chaos. But we're not going to sit back and just kind of rely on the intervention of angels. Excuse me. There is still the necessity for us to be confident and to be bold in the ways of the Most High. This is something that we have to accept responsibility for. If we actually believe that this kind of mentality will at some point overtake us, then all the more reason that we should be more active in combating these things in our own spaces. With that, I yield the mic to whomever might want to proceed.
Did Brother Award chime in or Brother Mercy chime in on that question? If not, the mic is yours at this time. And again, Sal stepped away from the board, but if you do have any questions or comments or anything that you would like, feel free to do so. Go ahead. The mic is open.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on.
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that you're absolutely right. I mean, the gay community has a very strong political power. It's a powerhouse right now. But I just wanted to say it's always been there. It's just that the powers that be, like the leaders of our country, the president, Congress, well, actually, I say the president mostly, they have given the gay community more freedoms to exercise their rights. And what has really happened, let me just tell you what's really happened and why I call it a travesty. Because I really believe that homosexuality is really a smokescreen. I think they got us focusing on this, on how they treated our people for 400 years. And really, like Obama, I really wish Obama would have did more for reparations, did more for maybe fighting for our people's rights and security and for black people. But he got up there and said, I'm not just a black president, I'm everybody's president. We know that, Obama, but he made his issues more national instead of helping out his own people. And what he really done, I mean, look at it. He took the unpopular fight, the fight for gay people, right, but don't want to fight for our rights. See, you know, I see that as a travesty. I see that as a travesty. You know, there's police brutality going on, killing our young people in the street. He could have done something to change the way police officers deal with our young people out here on the streets, protected our rights. We get pulled over by the police, relinquish some of these bad cops of their duties. I mean, he could have done so much there, but what is he doing? He fights for gay people's rights. You know, I mean, it really irks me because I'm just like, we're taking up debate talk for you, talking about gay people. And it's like nothing wrong. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it has become a national and international issue, and black people's on the back burner. I know we can't see them. We now on the back burner. They not even talking about what reparations is not even discussion no more. They not even talking about that no more. So it's like, and you know, like we talk about the police brutality, thrown out the window. You know what I'm saying? Now we're dealing with gay people and trying to repeal the Obama thing when he's trying to, we're trying to repeal what Obama has done as far as, I mean, it's a big issue because some states have lost federal dollars over this. So now we got a big issue. We got a big national issue with this. And really, black people, our issues is no more in the forefront. And I just feel, you know, we had the Black People's Matter, you know, Black Lives Matter. That's no longer really an issue. Now we're talking about the LGBT community. That's like in the forefront. And I just think it's all a smokescreen to put our people in the back burner. Now our issue is no longer important. And now, and if you want to get into acting, get into Hollywood now, I mean, even back in the day when you was married, you know how you had to take scenes to sleep with certain people. Even when you married, I'm talking about heterosexual relationships. You know, you married, you a married woman, you have to play a part kissing on a man. It's not just, I mean, I know we don't see stuff like that, but I mean, even from that compromise, now it's compromise. Now you got to take more roles. You can't just be heterosexual. Now you got to take a homosexual role. So now acting has become a very difficult field to take on if you're not gay. I hate to say that. If you're not gay, you're going to have a hard time finding an acting gig now. And I just wanted to say that, you know, they have a lot more power than we give them credit for. And also, I really believe that their issues have become more prevalent and become more important than the black Hebrew Israelite community. That's all I want to say about that.
Can I come in on that?
Go ahead, Brother Walker.
Yeah, See, we're seeing prophecy unfold before our very eyes. Okay, this America was prophesied in the book. It was going to come. And if you look in the book, it's exercising the exact decrees that was said. I'm going to give an example. This is Revelation 18. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. This is talking about the arrival of the Messiah, right? And this is talking about the judgment of America, which is known as Babylon the Great. Because the word Babylon means confusion. There were many Babylons, but this is the greatest Babylon out of all the Babylon. Why? Because not only do they rehearse homosexuality here, but they have the technology to cut off your private parts and convert you to whatever you want to be. If you want to be a woman, they got the technology to cut it off and make you a woman. They can make you a man. They took homosexuality and lesbianism to another level, an evil level. Okay, let me read this. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. It's fallen, and is become the habitation of devils and the home of every foul spirit. That's why you see the flux of evil going on, the total flux of homosexuality, lesbianism, bestiality, all the above. Then it says, in a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That's what you see here, right? Then it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. That's why America is pushing it throughout the world. They're putting out decrees. If you don't accept this or you put this in line with your government, we will sanction you. That's the acts of the beast that the scriptures is talking about. Let's prove it. This is Revelation 13, verse 16. And he called all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. The mark in the right hand goes with chip. Why? Because the chip now, if you go study the chip, you can stay. When you go to the supermarket, it's going to be, when you go to the supermarket, it's not going to be no more credit cards and cash. You would have, this is what they want to do. They want to put a chip in you, so all your information's on it, and you just scan. They're doing it now. You just scan your hand, and you get your food. Okay, this is how they're going to force you to start doing these abominable things. If you don't co-sign to all the abominations or that mark, okay, that they have, which is an ideology of Satan, everything that's averse to the Most High, they're going to starve you. They're doing it now overseas. If your country do not take the mark, meaning the mindset of Satan, anything that opposes the Most High's will, you cannot eat. I'm going to prove it. So it says, let me read it again. It says, and he calls them all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell except he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of the name. Now let's prove the mark is a mindset. This is Ezekiel 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So the mark of the beast are the abominations. You have the mark of the Most High, which is these statutes, laws, and commandments, the gospel. Then you have the mark of the beast, everything that's adverse to it. It starts with a mindset. That's why the homosexuality stuff is on the overflow now, because the mark of the beast is being spread throughout the earth, which is everything that opposes the Most High's will. And I'm going to pass the mic with that.
Thank you for that. That's the name of Brother Sal, you back?
Yeah, I'm back on. And we have like about 5 minutes on the air. People, we have like 5 minutes on the air, but you already know we can go into overtime part of the show. If you have any questions or comments, people, you know that number, 646-716-7320. I want to see like one more question. Anyway, I see one more question, and after that, if we don't have any more people that interact or any more questions, we can pretty much get some final words on this particular topic, homosexuality, a Hebrew's perspective. Let's see what the last question is here. Let's see. Okay, it says, in your opinion, are there more men involved in this lifestyle than women? Explain why. Okay. I guess we want to know, is there more men or more women doing it? You know. Let's go to Water Swordsman. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I think it's more men, in my opinion, because men have more lustful. They're more out of control than women. You know, when you look at rapists or you look at child molesters, it's more of an overflux. Men do it more than women. So I believe personally it's more men in that lifestyle than women. I'm past Mike.
Let's go to Amuna.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, let me tell you something that's wild before I answer the question. Just as I sat here to make sure I don't have any social media questions, someone shared #TakePride. And this, I wanted to touch on this. #TakePride. Target has a campaign that says pride, that has what they have adopted as the gay flag. I'm looking at it as I'm speaking right now. The gay flag, and they have shorts. They have pride on the jersey shirt. They have, so this is targeted, it looks like, at children. And so when we're talking about it and we're saying, you know, why are we speaking about it, and I understand what Mercy is saying, the fact that we have to speak about it, they're actually targeting, this is children's clothes. This is children's clothes. So understand that it is real, and the wild part about it is that the person who took the flag, and then you can look him up, the inventor of the gay flag, he took the rainbow, which is a sign or a covenant to say that, listen, the earth shall not be destroyed by water again for your wickedness, because remember, it was destroyed for wickedness. And so now it's kind of like a mocking type of thing. This is how I perceive it when I see it. So to see, and they actually have a little boy standing in front of it, and they have, you know, what now is supposed to be, it appears in creation, and have demonized it, have taken it to mean something that's lowly and deplorable. This is the psychological game that's going on. So now the child is going to be going between what the Torah says and what now they say. So the war is on, and we have to be vocal. We have to have these conversations, because you're naturally attracted to colorful things. This is why children's toys and books are in all of these bright colors, because naturally you're going to be attracted to it. So even when you see the sign, what they're taking, the rainbow, it's colorful. So it's going to draw you in. It's going to attract you. But the message in this space and time is that it means that if you like the rainbow, that happens when light is split through the spectrum, you're gay. You understand what I'm saying? And so some of us now, when we see it, we're like, oh, rainbow, I don't want it. And this is what's going on in this space and time. And I almost forgot the question because, like I said, as I was just scrolling, I'm like, Target is bugging out at this moment. But, Brother South, let me get that question one more time. This is wow. #TakePride, huh? Okay.
It says,
what was the question again, Brother South?
Yeah, it says, in your opinion, are there more men involved in the lifestyle than women? Explain why.
And I think, I think from what they say, there's a lot more men. I think from what's happening and the push, and the women are actually going more in the way. But as it relates to, let me say, the more opportunity for those who are in sports and those who are in certain type of arenas, that opportunity to interact in that way, those who are in the prison industrial complex and those who are in these spaces, they, and not to say that they're not women, but proportionately I would say that it is more men who are in these spaces, but more and more the numbers are climbing as it regards to women who claim that they can't find a man. So that's my 2 cents. And sorry for that. I digress because that just came up like right in my vision. But I relinquished the mic.
No, that's cool. Let's go to Mayana.
You know, I think that I would hesitate to say that there are more men. I think that it's more to the point that homosexuality among women is just more accepted. So it's not polarized. It's not emphasized the same way as when our men are part of that particular lifestyle, that they deviate into that particular mode. Because when women are doing it, it's still fetishized, sexualized, and almost accepted, and maybe women experiment in their life and then move on to receive men again. So I would hesitate to say that it's something that is more prevalent in our men than in our women. I think that it's just more sensationalized when it's our men. I think the point that Sister Muna brought out about Target is important, because what Target is trying to do now is give that push to say there's no difference between the boy and the girl. So even this question becomes irrelevant if we can't make distinctions between men and women. Are our men more when they are going to say to us, we can't really call our men anymore. We can't call our women anymore. What Target is doing is removing gender labeling and trying to say, we're not going to call things, these are not boys' clothes, these are not boys' toys, these are not boys' accessories. These don't belong to girls. They belong to whomever wants to participate in these things. Target is removing the entire the masculine and feminine spirit, or the male and female. The idea that from the beginning the Most High said, I created them male and female. And what the Most High has created, society is saying, well, we don't need that anymore. We're going to remove what the Most High has put in place. Target is effectively saying, I'm going to remove it. I'm taking all the labels off. The Most High put male label here, female label there. I'm taking all the labels off. And I think that's why the point that Amuna made was important, and that's why my answer is I really don't believe that it's mostly our men. I think that our men are just receiving the most attention when they participate in this lifestyle.
Our Brother Mercy? Brother Mercy, are you there?
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you now.
All right. I was going to say with the men, they put more political pressure with the men, because the men, what they do is they control different arenas. And then by them controlling these arenas, what they do is they keep people out of these arenas. It's almost like the white man suppressing people. What this homosexual community has done is, what they have done is they put pressure on the general population now, where you have to accept the homosexuality agenda to a certain extent. You can't just speak out against it unless you get sued. So I think that the men are, because a lot of men are in political power. Are members of Congress. Men are presidents. Men are, senators. Men are, and I think a lot of people are gay. But the men, what they've done is it's dangerous because they put political power with it. Now with the women, what you'll see, they're just gay. They're not trying to control groups of people and make them gay. That's what men do versus women. Men like to control things when they have position, when they have power. So I think that's the difference. So I think there's more men with political power influencing the situation versus women. But I think there's more women that are gay, but women don't really control a lot of these behind-the-scenes type things that's going on that you don't see. Like, for example, the back burner type, like we were talking about earlier, our issues as Black Americans is no longer an issue. We're on the back burner now. It's like we're not even important no more on the political scene. Politicians do not have to win our vote. They don't have to appeal to us to win our vote. They appeal to the gay community to get elected. See, that's what Obama did. He appealed to the gay community to get elected because there's more gay people than Black people. So this is what has happened. So now when you have these things in place, I think that's what happens. But at the same time, there are more women gaining power. So I think you may see women in the future influencing the culture more so. And we may have a discussion about more women, influencing the community. But I just wanted to say that I think more men that are gay, they the ones who change the laws. But this is going to change because we're going to have a female president, so we're going to have more women in power. So this is going to change, and then you'll have more women who are gay. I don't know women that are gay that are in political positions. I don't know them, but I know a lot of men who are. So, I think that's the key. And so what affects me and my house, that's what I care about.
I don't care if you're gay if it doesn't affect me. But what's going on now, people are gay, is affecting me. Because now I have to teach my family to go against the grain. So now it's affecting. What was going on with gay stuff now is affecting. Now I'm no longer important. I'm a back burner. So I just wanted to say that now. And that's all I can say.
Yeah, I see we have 832-245 still on the line. You want to say anything? 832-245? Okay. 832, are you there? 832-245. All right, I guess they stepped away from the phone. All right, people, again, if you have any questions, you can press number 1. I see we have a lot of people on the phone lines, via phone and via Skype. Other than that, we can pretty much wrap it up. Or, matter of fact, anybody on the panel have any questions for each other? Any questions you want to throw out there? Anybody?
I don't have a question, but I do want to throw something into the arena while we're discussing this particular topic before we move on. And it's not going to be a popular insert, but I think that it's something that we need to examine. We've been discussing all along this idea that there are spirits at work and that are attached to this behavior, and that sexuality is just a manifestation of it. But at the core of it is the fact that there is no building and creation happening where there are only masculine on masculine and feminine on feminine. Without the two coming together and not staying with each other, there is no building of any nation. There is no creation. And we are saying that has spiritual implications. To that point, I would like to point out that wherever we find, and we find this prevalent in our Hebrew community, where the men don't feel like they need to communicate with their women. They are privileging the company of their brothers over building with their women at home. That they feel like, they talk about my brother, and when they want to seek counsel, when they want to seek comfort, or when they want to build, they build with each other, and they exclude the feminine principle. Now, you might want to argue, well, that's not a sexual interaction, but spiritually, you have disconnected from the feminine principle and involved yourself in something that is purely masculine. That's a masculine on masculine energy. And in that way, things are still not being created. You are not creating. You are not building. You cannot build without the feminine principle. And likewise, Moon and I were investigating certain sisters who, or in terms of investigating their position, where certain sisters are sending out vibrations where they want to compete with this masculine principle and assign it to the feminine. And they want to believe that, we occupied spaces that we did not, and present ourselves in attire that we did not involve ourselves in. We didn't deal with armor and the like. Those are the things that belong to men. So the sister, and I'll let Amuna bring it out when she gets back or when it's her turn to the mic, because that was her portion of the discussion. But for my purposes, I believe that these kinds of treachery against one another, this kind of spiritual crossing over, is happening. And to the same degree, we're talking about spirits and demons and other things of the like that are separate from the actual sexual act, need to be interrogated. And we need to accept that embracing these kinds of positions are countercultural, they're counterintuitive. It's not to the purpose of building the nation. Just like two people who of the same gender having sex will not create two people of the same the men deciding that they only need to occupy spaces together and excluding the women. They're even talking about kingdoms where there are no women. I don't know. If that's not homosexual, I really don't know what is. A kingdom where there are no women. The women are not permitted. I don't even understand what kind of world they're imagining. In our Hebrew community, these same ideas are being forwarded. You're going to look forward to a kingdom where there are no women. I don't see how you cannot see the homosexuality in that. Or what kind of spirits are you entertaining that you're comfortable with that type of assertion? So, like I said, it might not be a comfortable thing to hear, but it's definitely something that needs to be thought through. With that, I use the mic.
Whoa. Mayana went and stirred up the pot at the 10 o'clock hour. Yo, the pot must have been sticking. Wait a minute. But no, really and truly, for those who just joined us, we're talking about homosexuality, and we have spent the greater portion of the night speaking about the physical act of homosexuality. And Sister Mayana just reminded me that there is a spiritual, as we have been saying all night, and we see in the book of Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter and the 5th verse, this spirituality of actually putting on garments that are not for you, and putting those on, and how that is an abomination. The Torah tells us that the homosexual act and the cross-dressing act are both abominations. If you could dig that. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't say, okay, you are a grade 3 abomination, you more like a grade 5 abomination. Both these acts are abomination. And what Mayana just spoke on is this spiritual thought that the value, what you're looking for and what you need, only can come from. And we see this a lot. Not here at Debate Talk for You, because this is an example where men and women are exchanging and we're building our consciousness. Hold on for me 1 second. And we're building through this conversation. But there are many spaces in where the woman's voice is silent and only masculine energy is allowed to speak. And so we reach back to that point in Genesis where the Most High says it's not good that man should be alone. And like she's saying, the men revel in this space. This is the space where they're talking about issues that affect the community, issues that affect families, and is it counterproductive? You can't necessarily say it's a homosexual act because they're not in the act of homosexuality, but the spirit of exclusion, and so it is in spaces where, and I did see the social media engagement post that was trying to cast this overly masculine image on the feminine principle. We used to be warriors, and you want to juke up people with swords and all kind of stuff like this. And it's like, wow, do you realize that the Torah prohibits that? And it's for a very reason, because we don't want to, as Awar spoke about today and another day, we don't want to remove, and begin this mixing, this thought of mixing. So again, for the men who have been on the panel, what are your thoughts on totally excusing women from the conversation and saying, your voice is not necessary, and only relying on the voice of men to come to any conclusion as it relates to building? I'll give it to Brother Mercy and Brother Awar, and I'll be back.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course, brother. We're looking for your input.
Okay. I was going to say, right now on the books, there's a bill on the books right now where, at one point, every man between the ages of 18 and 21 has to sign up for the Selective Service. That's a requirement for all young men. They have to sign up in case there's a draft. We already listed inside of the military. That's on the book. That's what's been going on for years. Now, of course, this is a requirement to get any type of financial aid and things like that, but that's a requirement. If you want to go to college, you have to be registered for Select Service if you're a male. Now, what's on the books now is they're about to pass through Congress, and they're about to legislate where not only men but women, every U.S. citizen, woman, will have to now be registered with the Selective Service. So now women will be sent off to war just like men.
Yeah,
So now, what y'all been crying for, y'all about to get. So now,
I'm gonna need you not to say y'all, because I never cried.
No, I mean when I say y'all, when I say y'all, I mean like this movement having a voice. But
okay,
see,
I wasn't
the
part of that movement. I'm gonna need you not to say y'all.
I'm just saying. But and the reason when I say y'all, I mean this voice, because see the thing is, in order for you to have political voice, you have to have a military voice. And so that's what's going on. We're about to have a female president. We're about to have one. She's about to be the commander-in-chief. So we're about to have a commander-in-chief who's a woman, so she got to have some female cadets. That has to happen. So now what we're about to have is, I'm just showing you how things are changing. I'm just trying to show you. And so when we talk about this, and then when you talk about Hebrew Israelite community, about this all male type thing, I mean, with men, I fellowship with a group of men, and I only can deal with them for a certain amount of time because they say some really dumb stuff. And the thing about it is, men, I can't be around a group of men but for a certain amount of time because they start saying real dumb stuff. Because men have this ideology, they feel they should be in charge just because they're a man. They don't understand that you have to be qualified as well. And that's what they're not understanding. You know, you're just not in charge just because you're a man. You got a certain part of your body. They don't understand that it takes certain qualifications, certain things to rule. And so, you know, a lot of men just feel, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're on drugs, they smoking or what, but they just feel they the king of their castle and all this. And some of these guys ain't got no castle. They tell them they the king. And I'm like, bro, you ain't no king. You ain't got no property. I'm sorry. You don't own property. You ain't a king. So I'm just, these guys, and more women are owning property than men. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. So now how are you the king? So my thing is like this. And then every king should have a queen. And what a lot of men don't understand, the king and queen rule with equal power. A lot of people don't understand it. A king and queen really rules with equal power. And I'm going to leave this example with you guys, the game of chess. It's one of the oldest games known to humankind, is the game of chess. And according to the game of chess, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. It can move as many spaces as it can in any direction. It's a very powerful piece. But as we know, the game is not over till the king is captured. But the king is only move one space in each direction. And when the king is moving, a lot of times he's in check. That means he's in trouble. So the thing is, with men that like to move around, like to run their mouth all the time, see, they are in check. They in check. They about to get checkmated. And see, the thing is, the thing is, what men don't really understand is what's really going on. Our women are not the enemy. We should use our women to help us fight this battle.
That's right.
Because we're going to need them in the future. And even, I'm a teacher now, and I have degrees. I'm educated. But I had to really look back over my life, and I realized that most of my jobs I got from women. I hate to say it, the women the one that hired me. So I can't have a problem with women because, you know, the women, I've gotten a lot of jobs from women, so they had the power to hire me. You see what I'm saying? So these men talking about they hate women, or they think women shouldn't be in charge. They gonna be for a rude. A lot of these men, they're not calling the shots nowhere. You know, they're not making no real change. You know, they're not part of the political what's really going on. They're not educating our kids. You know, and see, I'm educating, so I know I'm on the front. I know what's going on. And these men out here, they let you subscribing. They like to hang out with each other, hang out with their boys, and all this. You know how brothers do. They hang out with their boys. That's how they get in trouble. A lot of them get locked up together. And so the thing is, you really have to have, our men really need to understand they need our women. And really, we really need them. And we really need them now. And the thing is, I just don't have a male perspective on anything. I like to consider my wife's opinion on a lot of things because the thing is, I already know what what's going on out here, and I already know where this country is moving, where the world is moving. You already got female presidents in other countries. That's already going on. So these men, they just need to understand and wake up and understand that in order to hold a position of power, you got to be qualified to hold that position. You got to be worthy of your calling, as Peter talks about. You got to be worthy of your calling. And a lot of our men, they blame on the white man, but they're really not worthy. They're really not worthy to hold the positions that they hold. That's why they're getting evicted from these positions, because they're not worthy of holding it. So that's not to say women are more qualified. I'm just saying that the men we're just not holding it. So I just like to say that, you know, you talk about that homosexual spirit about men hanging out with each other and like to hang out. I'm never the type of guy like to hang with a bunch of dudes and we like to hang out all night and all that. I was never that type of dude. You know, I like to hang out because a bunch of brothers together spells trouble. If they just hang out all time, all night, you know, that spells trouble. You need to have some women. And a lot of times a man with a woman, like when I'm with my wife, I do things, I don't even act the same way I act if I hang around 20 different brothers. It's a totally different conversation. I can't even talk to my wife about everything I talk to them about. They talk about something stupid. When I talk to my wife, I got to have intelligent conversations. At least to hold the conversation, because because she's not going to be talking about nothing dumb. And a lot of our women, especially educated women, they're not talking about dumb stuff. You know, they talking about intelligent stuff, and you really got to be on top of your game. But I just wanted to say that to say that our men, we just need our women to help us out. That's it.
All right, let's let y'all know a water swordsman call actually dropped. But we do have somebody pressing number 1 right now. We have somebody pressing number 1 right now. Let's go to the caller, 816-812. You're live in the air.
Hey, peace. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, how you doing?
Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, this is peace, everybody. This is Sister Renee from The Rundown with Renee. Renee Black on Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, Renee? How you doing? It's been a long time.
I'm doing well. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, happy to have you. I appreciate you, sis.
Thank you. Yes. Y'all been dropping some knowledge. I wanted to, say a couple of things, about the homosexual issue and just some of what you all were just speaking about. As far as, like, the women signing up for selective service, I've never been one of these women that believe that a woman can do everything a man can do, nor can a man do everything a woman can do. That's just biologically, that's false, and also just in other ways I think that's false. We're two different entities, and I think that's where the beauty lies, is that we do have differences between us. So I don't think, but at the same time, the white woman has been the one who has pushed this feminist ideal. And so, therefore, many of them, I'm sure, are happy about that because some of them want to believe that they are men or that they are, quote-unquote, better or stronger than men, which there's no better. We're both equal to each other. But so if that's the case and we have all these women pushing this, it's only right to say, okay, well, if you want to be equal, then you're going to have to be equal in all ways. So, it's only right in that sense. But I think the homosexual issue, and I'm not really, a religious person. I would consider myself spiritual, but I don't subscribe to any particular religious doctrine or anything like that. But I think that thing is much bigger than we even realize. And the fact of the matter is we are under their system. So we are going to be like them at some point. And so that's basically what has gone on. And so now you have many black folk who defend homosexuality, the LGBT, and they defend all of these sorts of things. To a T, they get so upset and so angry with you if you speak against it. And it's like, wow, even to the point where we have people comparing race to a sexual choice. We're comparing race to a sexual behavior and a sexually deviant behavior at that. So we're just very, very lost in a lot of things. Unfortunately, I love my people. Not unfortunately that I love my people, but I love my people like I love myself. But unfortunately, many of us, not all, but many of us tend to be reactive and not proactive. So with this situation happening this heavy in the community, it's going to take it to get to truly, truly, truly dire rates where everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but so many people in the black community are homosexual or LGBT that it just really can no longer be denied because many people don't want to discuss this issue. You talk about the black church, which is so crazy to me because the black Christian church has always, had this thing, speaking against sin and speaking against homosexuality, that being a sin, like many others. However, doing research on this topic, I came across so many black men particularly who talk about their first homosexual black men who talk about their first, exposure to homosexual behavior, male homosexuals was in the church, was dealing with people from the church. And so it's like we have this very bipolar, schizophrenic mindset where black people put so much weight on the church, but then you have something like homosexuality, which is running rampant in the church. But people aren't calling it out. They're not talking about the choir directors and even the pastors and different people whom are practicing homosexuals. So we have a big issue on our hands, and, it's just going to unfortunately take for it to get way worse.
Yeah, that's Sister Renee right there. I appreciate you. And I know you're going to definitely be back on Thursday, right?
Yes.
I appreciate you for calling in. Yeah.
Right.
You want to put something out there, being that you're on the phone line, any websites, anything like that? You want to put it out there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a show called The Rundown with Renee that comes on every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Blog Talk at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. I also do graphics, so things like, logos, flyers, Facebook or YouTube banners, and T-shirt designs, things of that nature, e-business cards. I do all of that. So you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Renee Black Graphics, and you can see, some of my work or contact me.
All right, we appreciate your call. Anybody want to address anything before we move on? Anybody want to address anything that was said?
I want to shout out and say thank you, Sister Renee. This is Sister Moon. Thank you for coming through. I listen to her show. She does speak about topics like this, very important topics in the community. So we can't stress it enough that everybody needs to raise their voices in their respective areas, and like she said, be proactive. And that's just something that I kind of wanted to see if I could, put my 2 cents on the end portion of this, is to be proactive in our own homes. Sometimes we say, hey, this is what's going on, but then we still allow our children to engage in certain things that are counterproductive. You still allow your children to say, it's not that bad, and they're sitting there watching homosexuals on the television. You understand? They're listening to these songs. So in your homes, for your children and your grandchildren, you can control what comes into your household. And one of the ways, if we know that this is the way in which they're reaching, the majority of it is through media, then you have to begin to monitor your child. You understand what I'm saying? All of these freedoms and liberty, endless internet access, and this, that, and that, and that, because we're in 2016, the time does not determine true morality. And so we have to be proactive with our children and guard their minds, because if not, we're going to allow them to be seated with this, and pun intended, but we're going to allow them to be seated with this profane thought. And it's going to be in the recesses of their mind. Sometimes you say, oh, man, they didn't see it. When we was young, they let you watch Eddie Murphy Raw and all kind of crazy stuff, but then it's in there, so at some space and time, it's going to come back out. So that's one of the ways in which we can and talk with your children. Me and Brother Sai, we spoke about it earlier. Speak with your children. Sit down and have conversation with them. Read with them. See what's in their mind, what concerns them. I got a sister whose young child is like 13, and she has to go to school and deal with this on a daily basis, where everyone in the school is talking about these little girls are running around. Of course, it's New York, so it's turned up, but the little girls are running around talking about they have girlfriends. You understand what I'm saying? And the little child has to be like, well, Mom, you're in the world. Because, she's sending her into this environment, but a lot of times parents don't know what to do. So we have to really look at it for what it is. If it's an all-out war, then we have to make hard decisions. We can't just sit back and say, it's really bad, it's really, really bad. You have to make decisions. You have to make decisions that's probably going to cause you to sweat. It's probably going to have to make you tighten up your belt. You're probably going to have to lose a little bit of luxuries and step up to the plate, especially if you have the younger ones, and do what you need to do to protect their minds. So I definitely wanted to say that. I'm not saying it from anybody as a hype. I'm saying it from somebody who's doing it. And it's not the easiest thing, but it's definitely necessary. And so with that, Brother Sal, if anybody else is on the phone line or if anybody else on the panel would like to say something at this time, feel free to do so.
Yeah, just to add to what Sister Muna is saying, and pretty much what the sentiment of the panel has been, I'm sorry, when it comes to dealing with our children and our families, we have heard it often quoted, Joshua 24, the 15th verse, and if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Most High. So that speaks to what do we do. You know, we heard the question earlier, what do we do with our friends and our loved ones? You know, how do we negotiate those spaces? These are uncomfortable spaces, and just, you know, to which we have to respond using Joshua's words, saying, listen, you just if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, then you do what you got to do. But you know, you have to make that choice. Are you going to protect those within your gates? You know, you make that choice. Whether or not you are going to concern yourself with what's comfortable to your friends and to your family, or if you're going to do what is right in the eyes of the Most High. Like I said earlier, you know, is it the Creator or the created that you're going to concern yourself with? With that, I yield to the next question.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick.
I
was going to say that goes back to our earlier, because all this stuff is interconnected about pre-arranged marriages. I mean, parents had to get more involved, and again, this really is a parental responsibility. As Imuna or Miyana or you ladies are talking about, it really is parental responsibility because we have to select our spouses anyway, our spouses for our children anyway. That's how it should be done in the first place. So because we're not in the selection process. Only thing the best we can do is give our blessing after they select who they want to be with. That's the best we can do, and that's if they choose to involve us in the process. So I mean, because that has happened, now you see they're going all different directions. So I think if we start with the parents, I think we can control the situation. I think we can eradicate this thing if the families started doing more what they're supposed to do as a family, and in the selection process and the approval process. I think that we can curb this activity. But like you guys are saying, it's not something that can't be resolved. But like I say, I think it's a smoke screen, and as all smoke, it eventually clears when the wind blows. And my thing is like this. This is just something to get us off what we should be talking about. Because when we talk about stuff like this, it really gets us off of the bigger issues like education. I mean, our people are dropping out of schools at crazy rates. I mean, our kids are just dropping out of school, especially in the inner cities. So, I mean, yeah, I know the topic is about homosexuality, but really, you see black people saying, well, I'm against homosexuality, preachers saying, well, I'm against homosexuality, but they're not preaching about, you know, our kids get properly educated. They're not preaching about, you know, so again, like I say, I'm totally against the homosexuality movement, but also I would like to say that it really is a movement, and it's a strong movement, but more importantly, is getting the government. See, the government used to have to appeal to us, but they don't have to appeal to us anymore. They're appealing to the Mexicans, and now they're trying to help the documented. I'm not trying to change something, I'm just trying to show you how the government is appealing to the undocumented worker. They're now, we like Obama did, so something else Obama did. Now he's saying that illegal people don't have to leave the country. Illegal aliens don't have to leave. He let them stay. So now we got undocumented world, illegal aliens that don't even have citizenship are allowed to stay in this country. And then now we got homosexuality. So I just see it going crazy. I see it's rampant. And you know, it's just crazy how we're just on the back burner. And now our people now are delusional. Now we think it's okay to be gay. And now we want to have boys and all this stuff. And, you know, our brothers and all, you know, all the boy stuff, hanging out with each other and all that crazy nonsense. A man, I feel that a man that's married, you will find a man that's married, he hangs less with his boys over time. When I mean boys, I mean the type of boys that get you in trouble. I ain't talking about the good guys that keep you out of trouble. A lot of times married men hang around other married men. That's really what if they hang around any kind of men, they hang around other married men. And I would be leery of a man that's, while he's married, like to hang out with single men all the time. I'll be very leery of a man like that. He might be gay. But I just wanted to say that. And to say that it is a problem. It's a problem among men. and men need to address the issue because we do have the power to make change.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much wrap it up. Once again, I appreciate everybody that called in. I know it's not a popular topic, homosexuality, but, we got a lot of feedback from the people out there. We appreciate you guys for emailing the questions and sharing it on your personal page on social media. I see a lot of people shared it and, created awareness of the show, so we appreciate you guys. But let's get some last final words right here, right now. And, of course, we're going to go to Mayana, and she's going to update us on what some of the upcoming shows for the Relationship Challenge. Mayana, go ahead.
The people can look forward to the next 3 shows. Next week will be the last show in this month, the month of May. May 30th, the marriage bed undefiled. Does anything go? Breaking into June 6th, be fruitful and multiply. Is birth control lawful? And our third show is June 13th. Whose line is it? What roles belong to men and women? So those are the next 3 shows in our lineup. You can look forward to that. And Mona, myself, Sal, and Awal will return with our special guests to address those topics. For my closing statement, as usual, I would like to thank everyone for having me. And even when we get off the air, I want the listening audience to consider the points that were discussed here, including the last one. And I think that because I added it because it's important, and I feel like it's overlooked. We have a lot of people operating outside of the vibration that we are supposed to be operating in. And whether or not we want to accept that as being homosexual, homoerotic, or homocentric, it is the case where you do not allow for the masculine principle to occupy its spaces and operate in the way that it's supposed to. If we don't allow the feminine principle to be involved in this creative process, then we are going against the natural order of things in all of these spaces and in all of these ways. And they need to be considered across the board and given the appropriate weight. So with that, I say good night to the people. Shalom.
All right, Mayana, we appreciate you being here. And by the way, people, just want to let you guys know we have a show on Wednesday. We're going to have the Hot Seat segment of Debate Talk View Radio. That's right, the Hot Seat is going to be back, and we're going to have Priest Daniela here in the Hot Seat right here on Debate Talk View this Wednesday. So make sure you call in. That's the show where you can call in from the beginning to the end of the show with nothing but your questions and your comments. So, again, we're going to have Priest Daniela right here on Debate Talk View Radio. But let's go to my brother Mercy with his last words. Go ahead. Brother Mercy.
Yeah, I appreciate being on. Can you hear me?
I was about to sing that song, Mercy, Mercy, me.
Yeah, I was going to say I appreciate being on Debate Talk for you this afternoon, this night, and it was a great, outstanding discussion. I think we need to have more discussions like this, and, as the ladies keep coming up with great topics to discuss. But like it's been talked about, it is a real problem that's going on, but it's not something that we can't fix if we all come together. And I just feel that it was a great discussion. We had a lot of input, but biblically speaking, on the biblical level is wrong, on the political level is wrong, and on a spiritual level, societal issue is wrong. And but I think we talked about that, but I think it's something we can solve if we just put our heads together. We get, I think the main thing to fight homosexuality is for our men to marry our women, then we can get rid of homosexuality. All right, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, I appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. What about you? Have any websites out there, man? Any social media, anything out there you want to put? You can put it out there now, brother.
I don't have a going back to this. I don't have a website, but social media. I don't do the Instagram and all that. So
you old school with it, brother. I got you old school with it. It's all good. It's all good. I hear you, man. You have an email or something like that? Because somebody might want to reach out to you, brother.
Yeah, I have an email address. My email address is National Teacher Cert. I am a teacher at yahoo.com. You want to send me an email, you're welcome to send me an email. I talk about education issues as well as other issues because I'm about education. So that's teachercert at yahoo.com.
All right, man, I got you, man. My brother said he's going to be off the radar, man. No Instagram, no social media, none of that. I got you, brother. Appreciate you, though, man. And, we're going to see you again in the panel real soon. But let's go to Amuna. Amuna, any last words? Go ahead.
All right. Until next time, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. So all praise be to the Most High. It's been a well-needed show. Like you said, we speak about the difficult things here. We speak about things that are affecting our community. We have the panel ongoing every week between the masculine and feminine energy so that we can find and strike that balance. And hopefully if you heard anything today here or in any of the other shows that you may have a question about, the panel is always open, the lines are always open, and definitely reach out to us so that we can have this conversation and be a working model of how to resolve our differences and issues without just totally crumbling and breaking apart. So once again, don't forget to speak to your children. Don't just send them to school, try to stuff, your biblical instruction into their mind and think all of a sudden it's going to push out all of that influence that they're receiving in the world. It's heavy, and it's more than that. And you have to be able to not necessarily befriend them in the way that, girl, tell me anything you want to tell me, but you definitely have to have them comfortable enough to open up to you so that you can have the ability to steer them away from places that can definitely hurt them in the future. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody who supported and who will listen to this in in the future. And if you didn't get the book or if you haven't seen it, like I said, it's a sneak peek. Go to mybookbag.org and you'll be able to see the first chapter and support it. And that's it for the night. So everybody have a blessed night and shalom.
All right, we appreciate you, First Lady Debate Tour for you. And by the way, people, just to let y'all know as well, we have a round table coming up this Thursday. Powerful round table. A lot of special guests going to be there for the first time. It's going to be called Are We Headed for Self-Destruction? Are we headed for self-destruction? We're going to talk about, things that's going on within the community, things that's going on social media, that directly affect us as a people. And, my special guests that's going to be on the panel, some of them have some things that they want to address as far as, things that's going on within our community. So make sure you check out the round table. We didn't do a round table in a long time. So the round table's back this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you check that out. All right, so I'm going to see you guys next time. Take care, and y'all bless.
Daily word.